As somebody raised in Nicaragua and the US who spends time in London, how do you say Medellin?
Medellin.
Medellin, Miami, and LA. How have your cultural experiences shaped you as an individual in your music?
It sounds so crazy when you say
I mean, it's
it's
your
true
life, so it's
though.
pretty normal, but
Well, okay, so I guess for me, so I'm not Nicaraguan by blood.
mhm,
My mom grew up in Bolivia and Colombia and Uruguay, and then she lived in Nicaragua when she was like 25 to like maybe 30 or so. And
mhm,
my grandfather lived there as well. He worked in foreign service. And then we're married into a huge Nicaraguan family that I grew up with.
mhm,
Um, and some of my blood cousins are half Nicaraguan as well. So I have since a very young age had like a cultural melting pot around me,
mhm,
especially because my mom worked primarily in Latino communities. So that since the jump, like I, with my mom's job, because she worked, traveling a lot, like I traveled a lot with her as a kid and thank God got to like experience different things. So I think, we moved to Nicaragua when I was 9. I lived there for 2 years, came back to the States, and then, would go back in the summer and then would see my cousins because everyone is your cousin there. And so I think for me, just initially growing up, like traveling a lot with her job, and then, we didn't really live in one place for very long until I was in high school, kind of made me like, I don't know, like I think I just was never really used to staying in one place. I didn't have that experience. And so um I think from jump I've been raised to be very cognizant of other people's cultures and to not try and take them, but to appreciate them and like learn them. Like if you're gonna be involved in something, you need to learn it. Like you can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna go take this now. Like, no. So then that leads me into Medellin because I grew up listening to reggaeton. And so I was like, I really want to learn how to make reggaeton because that's the music that like really speaks to me in a lot of ways, along with like, a lot of other genres. But that one is, a large part of me. So I was like, if I'm going to do this, I need to learn how to do it. Like, I need to understand fully the process of making it, the history and stuff. And so I moved to Medellin, and luckily my mom has her two of her best friends still live there, so they took me in and I was able to study for like several months. Like I went back and forth between Medellin and LA for a few months, and then I finally like sold all my stuff and moved there for a bit, and then I got stuck back in LA. So crazy, but I was really blessed with that experience to just be like Medellin became like another home to me, and I still have good friends there. And then I did the same thing with London because I was like, Afrobeats has a huge community here, and Afrobeats and reggaeton share a sonic palette. So I was like, okay, same thing. I need to go understand the sounds, the culture, like all of it. And if I'm going to integrate that into the music I'm making, like I don't just want to take something and say, oh, I did this. Like that's not fair. So same kind of process. And then I've always been in love with London. So I kind of, when I got here, I had this moment of like, oh man, this is it. So I kind of just have structured my life like glory to the most high, that like I kind of have been able to create a community in those places with people who I deeply love and respect, and be able to make music and integrate all of them together. So that I guess is kind of the thing, It's a
yeah,
little hard, like because I miss when I'm not in one place, I miss everybody in the other place.
of course.
Um, but I'm really lucky, man. I'm really lucky.
No, I totally feel you. And I think that is such a valuable take on utilizing different cultural pieces of music. Like, I really admire you for your dedication to go to those places and actually learn about the music rather than just being like, oh, I like that. Like, I'll sample something like
Yeah.
that. Or, like,
Yeah.
good on you.
Yeah, I think also I've spoken Spanish since I was really young, and I think like I kind of had a weird thing for a large part of my life because I felt so connected to Latin culture. And like, you know, just growing up, like half of like I would spend New Year's with Nicaraguan family in Miami. And so like it's like things like that, but I never fully belonged to in my head, even though they're like, you're our family. I was like, but I'm not Latin. Like, so I think when I went and studied reggaeton, it kind of put a final piece of the puzzle in for me because the people I worked with were like, it doesn't matter. Like, just learn, you know, just like you're coming here to learn. Like, so that helped me a lot. And I've been really blessed to be received well by Latinos and being able to work with many, you know, people who like just blow my mind. So yeah, man, it's kind of sick.
What is your experience aside from, having amazing opportunities for collaboration with being a multilingual vocalist in the music industry?
Um, it definitely opens up more opportunity. I think I was speaking to somebody about this the other day. Like, the best part about it is you get to communicate with more and more people, and I think that is the purpose of art, is to create like community within people, because in a world, especially right now, that's so torn apart by like everything, being able to still communicate and create community through art, I think is what has saved us, like especially in 2020. And so that to me is the best part, is just, you know, like I come here and I can, you know, meet amazing Latino and Latina artists here and learn from them. And like, you know, if they want me to get on a track and sing in Spanish or in English, like I'm honored to do so. And there's a big reggaeton and Latino community budding here, musically. And so it's really amazing to like watch that happen and be like kept up to date on that. And then also like, you know, I think for me, a lot of it goes back to Nicaragua, because I feel like Nicaragua adopted me when I was very young. And that's always felt like home base in a way for me. So I think like I'm very proud to have lived there and to have family from there. And, you know, the musical culture is so rich and the dancing is like so rich. Like everything is so just vibrant. Same in Medellin. So yeah, I think it's sick. Like I feel very lucky to be able to have experienced these cultures. So yeah.
Yeah, you're like a student or a child of the world in a way.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. Like I think I still have that hunger for knowledge. Like the next trip that I want to take is to Nigeria, because I want to really like I really want to learn and appreciate like the Afro beats, because it's huge there and like the artists are incredible. Like it's amazing. As same thing with Brazil. So I'm really just like, please let me learn how you make music. Like show me. Like I want to. It's just beautiful, and people don't get to see that, because in the digital age, everything is about how quickly you can put material out, how quickly you can copy something, how quickly you can hop onto what's hot. And what happens is in that you lose the respect for the culture, and you lose you literally say, oh, I'm just going to make it now, not realizing that there's a whole cultural history and importance to these things, and it's important to appreciate that, so you're not just like saying fuck it, you know.
Yeah. It's like a level of appropriation.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Yeah. I've noticed like between your release tracks, like there is a little bit of time, but you get such great quality, and I can really hear the authenticity in each of your songs, as opposed to if you maybe had like rushed out a whole album, kind of like what you
Yeah,
were saying, and it didn't have that same respect for the culture. It didn't emulate the cultural values or the real
yeah,
style of those musics.
yeah. Well, also with the music, like I kind of, so I feel like I was not playing around, but I was kind of expressing different things. So now my project is done. So Control was the first single off of my EP. And I still have reggaeton tracks. I have like 6 rock songs. Like I literally have a lot of music, but it took me a bit of time to kind of hone in. Also, when you do appreciate a lot of like different types of music, and you end up making a bunch, then honing in on what your project is going to be can be like kind of a nightmare.
Yeah.
um so you're like, what did I just make? So At this point now, I kind of have like my like steez down, like I know what I'm doing. But I do think that I appreciate that you like them. I mean, they were made like with really dope people. I think like the three songs that are out on Spotify all came from Colombia.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, so it's been a journey.
Yeah, I've noticed a little touch of Colombia in each of the music videos for the songs that
Yeah.
you've released. And then going back to Control, you'd mentioned earlier the culture about dancing. I was really curious. The music
Yeah.
video is gorgeous, but like, how long have
Yeah.
you been dancing? And it sounds like, you've learned some of your dancing skills from where you've visited.
Yeah. So I I mean, I guess most of my dancing experience comes from my aunts, my Nicaraguan aunts. One of them is like the most amazing dancer. And so spending New Year's and like I spent the pandemic with them. It's always dancing. There's no occasion where dancing doesn't inevitably happen. And it's all hips. It's all like, it's all hips. It's all like different things. And then also my biggest musical influence when I was like a preteen was Shakira. So I wanted to be Shakira. Like I wanted to belly dance. I wanted to like move my hips. I think it comes from that. I've not had any formal training. I actually did work with a choreographer. There's a second music video for Control coming out, which nobody knows. Now you know. In like a week and a half. And that was done with a choreographer. And she's amazing. Like she's the sickest. So she kicked my ass because she was like, there's actually movements that you need to do. Like you can't just, but the control music video, the one that came out, was actually a mistake. So that was supposed to be B-roll and that was supposed to be the bridge, because that was just the director. Sarah was like, we have 20 minutes left to shoot. I was soaking wet. I was freezing. She was like, we have 20 minutes left. The camera's dying. Just do the whole song. And so we had like 3 takes because she was going to do it for B-roll. And she's like, just start singing and start moving. And we were watching the footage and we were like, holy shit, like this might be the video. And then we had a whole other choreographed video that we took most of the time to shoot. And we were like, we're just going to do 2 videos because this is too sick. Like, I don't know what the fuck came over me, but she was like, just keep going. I was like, okay.
Hey, yeah. Part of what I do with my business is that I'm also a music video director. So like I just adore
Wow.
watching music videos and I'm like really
Yeah.
curious about the process that goes into them. Have you worked with this director before? Are you guys close?
Yeah, so I've known Sarah for a year. She's the creative director for one of my best friends here. And she's just like, I've admired her work since I saw her do anything for Peace, which is my friend. Like, she's so talented. It actually blows my mind. Like, her eye for detail and for color and for everything is crazy. She literally would tell me like, the thing is I have never worked with a female director before. And so I don't know if I would have gotten the same result had I worked with anybody else, because she just so intimately understood what I was trying to communicate. And she was able to like kind of put me in that zone, like when it started. And she's just, I mean, she's probably one of the hardest working people I've ever met, but also she's the most like, I swear to you, she's going to be, if not like a director, but music video director, like she'll be one of the biggest ones we'll see for a long time. Like she's just starting and she's just so sick. Like I'm like, Sarah, like you're crazy.
Yeah, I immediately noticed the color and like the double exposure shot I thought was really sick. So like good on both of you for putting out something that was supposed to be
Yeah.
B-roll and ended up being a really cool music video. I'm excited.
She hired there was a gaffer, Joe, who also just snapped the lighting. But I mean, this was like, she's just insane. Like she's so
Yeah.
sick. So I'm glad you like it. Thank you.
Of course, you're welcome. I'm really curious about how you picked your artist name.
Okay. So before I started making music, I don't know how I started going by Rue, but Rue was like what I went by. And my real name's Julia. So when I first started making music, I and I went to Medellin. The man that kind of took me under his wing, he's a very big manager out there. We met in a mall, and I met him the first day I was there. A friend of a friend was like, "Oh, I think you should meet him." I was like, "I don't know anybody. I'm gonna find a musician on the street and meet them." And so I met with Don Alvaro, that's his name, and his son is a really big reggaeton artist. And so we had a meeting, and he was like, "Well, what is your name?" And I was like, "Ru." And he's like, "Ru? Rut?" No, like he was like, "That's absolutely not gonna work. Like no one who speaks Spanish is gonna be able to say your name." So I was like, "Fuck." So I was like, "Well, why don't I just?" My Instagram name was already Ruelia because I combined Ru with Julia,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Well, why don't I just make it Ruelia then?" Because Ruelia you can say,
Yeah.
and Ru for me was Ru. The reason Ru was what I went by is because human beings are like a paradox of light and dark. Like we all have it, and it's not a bad thing at all. It's a great thing. So Ru, you can say, has like two different meanings. So Ru means rue the day. Like I regret the day I met you. Like you're gonna hate this. It's a darker, more sinister word in that sense. And then rue is also like this white flower that grows in Austria, and it cures like a bunch of ailments. Like, so I was like, well, that's like me. That's like what I feel like all the time. Like, who the fuck am I? I'm like this one day and this the next. And as our human beings. So that's how Rue came about. And that was before Euphoria, by the way. So yeah, that's how it happened.
Are there any sort of like main ideas or concepts that you aim to portray through your music or that you want to share with people?
That's a really good question.
Thanks.
I think paradox is one of the biggest themes in my art and in my life. And I think now I'm in a place where I enjoy paradox because without paradox, we would be bored all the time. So I think the juxtaposition between like who you are in your public life, who you are in your private life, who you want to be, who people tell you are, like we're surrounded by paradox. And I think it shapes a lot of like our inner conflicts and struggles. And I think I was was raised very religiously, and I didn't really have any room for paradox because I was like, I'm not this person, like this isn't me. But I didn't think that was something that you could even express. And so now I think the paradox between being like with control, it's like you're a boss in the streets and you want to be like taken in the sheets, like you know what I mean, like it's
Love
just
that.
like yeah, like and that was something I actually came to the conclusion about when I was writing it, because I was like, damn, like I'm still with like guys, like, and they think that because maybe I'm this person in public, like I'm like no nonsense whatever, that they think that that's how I'm going to be when I'm with them. And I don't want that. Like I want you to be, I want you to treat me like a princess, because I am one still, no matter how I look, no matter how I talk, no matter if I get shit done, like treat me like a princess because that's what's in front of you. So it's like there's these little paradoxes. And even with a song like Easy, it's like um don't look at me one way because I am a girl and think that I won't get this shit done, because I will. Like I will run this. And so it's like these paradoxes. And then there's other themes in my music and more music coming out about like paradoxes in love, paradoxes in growing up, paradoxes in wanting to have a home but living all over the place and not knowing where home is, and even stuff like that. So paradox is a big one, and also just rebellion. Always
Yeah.
rebellion's a big one for me, man. Don't put me in the box.
That's super validating for both like me as an individual and as a woman, but I think also for like any listeners that are going to watch this. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing.
Oh my God, thanks for asking.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So, kind of on a similar vein, from one female in the music industry to another, are there any obstacles that you find that you faced as a result of your gender?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I think to be honest, I think we're in a very political time where everyone wants to be equal, and we should be, but unfortunately, like not everything's caught up to that. And I think I now work with a lot of people, men that respect my perspective and respect what I have to say. And not only that, they add to it in like an incredible way. It's like a symbiotic relationship. But when I first started out and wasn't in the space where I am now, like I feel like it was just a nightmare. Like I've had experiences where like, you go to the studio, you think you're going to meet a producer who wants to work with you, or your friend is like, come to the studio, you need to meet this producer, you can make a song with him. And then you're there and someone starts trying to like make out with you, or like, I've had some shitty experiences for sure. Like I fell asleep once at a studio and I woke up and someone was trying to like fuck me. Like, it's just, I think, it's super important for women to take care of other women, but especially in music, like this is still a man's game, and it's going to change, and it is changing, but like, who are the heads of labels? They're old white men.
Always.
So it's like, we're still not there, but we're going to get there, because the amount of, women, non-binary, like it's crazy. Like it's happening, but definitely I think I've had some experiences that I've been like, yo, like I certainly don't want my children to have this experience. Like this shit's got to change.
Certainly. I've definitely observed. I mean, I think it differs from scene to scene, from circle to circle, but overall, like music is such a big boys' club in so many
It
ways.
is.
And it's just like, it's such bullshit.
It is. It is, because the thing is that even in terms of labels, like labels are so behind. Like the people that are really getting it done are getting it done by grassroots type shit. Like, like it's just, it's a shift happening. It's a shift happening. And I think, you look at the artists who are still like fully performing, who are on tours. It's J-Lo's 51. She's still running this shit.
Yeah.
Shakira's, I think, 42 or 43 running this shit. Like
Mhm.
they're outperforming their male peers. I love men. I love, I
Yes.
mean, I have no problem with
Mhm.
men, but it's like, you can't ignore what's happening, like
Yeah.
what, like on what planet is this planet men?
Mhm.
Not, I
I
don't
think
see
there's
it.
this perspective too where people are like, oh, well, we have equal rights now. Like we can vote. Like that's not an issue anymore. But if you really think in the span of all history, like the amount
Mhm.
of time that women have had rights to own property, to own money, to work, to own businesses, it's a really small
It's
percentage.
really, yeah, it's just not, it's not the one.
So like I'm
But
glad
we're
we're where
getting
we're
there.
at, but like there is more work to
Yeah,
do. Yeah.
I think we're getting there quickly, or quicker,
Yeah.
that's not a word, quicker, but I
Yeah.
think with the internet as well, like
Mhm.
women are forming forums and groups and platforms that like uplift female creatives. And I think especially a space that's being made bigger and bigger is platforms for, people of color, because like as a white woman, like I have it easier, like, and I know that, and it's fucked. Like,
Yeah.
so it's just, there's so many shifts that have to change. And I think it's happening, but, I just hope that by the time, like, if I have children,
Yeah.
that by the time that they're figuring out what they want to do in the world, whether it's be a doctor, be a teacher, whatever, a musician, like they don't even have to really think about that. It's just, so
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get there.
I'm sure we will. And I think that like us recognizing our racial and ethnic privilege is
Mhm.
the first step. I mean, and all we can do is really do our best to uplift and provide space for and give opportunity to our peers of color, and I think you did a
Yeah.
good job of highlighting that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Oh, tell me about your musical process. Like, how have you created your songs and then worked towards recording and videos and stuff?
So honestly, like I usually write every day, at least something, but I literally have never used anything I've written in like a studio. Like I just write it and I'm like, I'm gonna use that, and I never do. But usually what happens is I come in, I've I've got a sonic palette in mind. So I've got a selection of sounds that I want, that I've heard, that I want to put into production. So I have a producer in LA that I work with, Bravo, and a producer here that I work with, Jay. And so depending on what country I'm in, I'll go to them and be like, these are the sounds that are in my head. These are some songs that have made usage of these sounds. And then let's create, from scratch. So I usually will sit in the session with them for production and we'll go through sounds. And I think probably I irritate the hell out of them, but they put up with me and I'm grateful. But I literally will go through sounds with them. And then at some point, usually they're like, okay, Rue, like you need to leave. Like we're going to make it now.
Fine.
Yeah. So usually that's what goes down. And then if I, sometimes in that production session, I'll write the hook because the hook will just be there, or I'll come back, the next day and I'll write the song. So depends on the song. There's a song that will come out on my EP that I literally wrote. Like, I wrote it in a night and then Bravo produced it like the day before, or something like Control was actually harder. It took me I had to take like 3 weeks off from writing that song because I wasn't developed enough in myself as a woman to like say what I wanted to say. So it was just pissing me off. I was like, it's not the right lyrics, Bravo. Like, I'm not there yet. He was like, take a break. I was like, fine.
All right.
So, yeah. And then the videos usually come to me as I'm making the song because I'm a big visual person. So when I start making a song, I'll see the colors. Like I'll see the colors of that song. And then I'll think of a video concept usually based off of the colors. And then, if you're lucky enough to have someone like Sarah in your life, she'll be like, okay, cool. This is the mood board. And you're like, damn, like that fast.
Right.
So yeah. So I mean, I do my part, but I've just been really blessed with amazing creatives around me that like just knock it out of the ballpark. So
Yeah. I mean, I think that just goes to show you that you're doing the right thing and the universe is lining you up with the people that you need to meet.
definitely, I've been really lucky. Like, I'm very grateful.
Oh, well, I'm really happy to hear that. Is there anything that you want your listeners to know about you?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. I don't even think I'm that interesting, but I would just say if anybody's listening, like I think the most important theme that maybe I have to offer is don't let anybody put you in a box. Like make your own life, make your own idea of who you are. Like these archaic things that like people tell us, like, you know who you are, you know what you want, just go do it. That's I think probably my biggest soapbox. That would be it. Yeah.
And do you feel like you have support from the people that are close to you in what you're doing as a musician?
Yes and yeah. I mean, I think they support me in the ways that they can. Like people only show up for you in the ways that they can, and I can't complain because, I think my dad has been very supportive in the ways that he can. Like I obviously don't send him all my music and I don't send him my videos because he'll have a heart attack and I don't want that. But he tries to understand, and like I think he's just proud that I work hard. And my siblings, the two of them that I talk to, like they're proud. They will not watch my videos, but like they're proud. And my mom as well, like she tries. So I think I've gotten to the point where like I just am really grateful that they try, because that's all any of us can do. And like I'm not the perfect daughter either. So
Mhm.
and I think now I have really amazing friends in my life that the universe has, like you said, sent to me that do support. And it's not, sometimes support is being like, what are you doing? Like
Yeah.
get together.
Yeah, that part sucks,
Yeah.
but it's equally as valuable.
Yeah, it is. I think the last thing in the world that you want is like people that just say yes to you. Like it's not real friendship. Like
Yeah.
I think that's a pitfall inevitably, is like if you don't have people in your life that can say like you're wilding right now, or like you need to like take a step back or whatever, like you're missing out. Because I mean, one of my best friends like habitually kicks my ass. She's like, Rue, like you're literally, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, that's my point. you know, you
Well,
know? Yeah, so I can't complain.
a knockout interview.
Oh my
Um,
god, okay.
so it'll be like a lightning round and you'll have a minute. So I'll set a timer and I have 5 questions for you, like one for each field.
Okay.
Are you down?
Yeah, what do I have to say? What do I have to do?
Okay, I'm just gonna ask you questions and you're just gonna have to answer them as quickly and concisely as you can.
Okay.
And I'll tell you when to start.
Okay, oh my god, I'm ready.
All right. In 3, 2, 1. If you could tour with any musician, who would it be?
Rihanna.
All right. What's your greatest musical achievement to date?
Having my song put on pause online is one of the new picks on Friday. That happened today.
I just saw that. I'm so glad that we're talking now. What's your highest goal or aspiration?
Perform at the Brit Awards, perform at the Grammys, do a stadium tour, make people happy.
All right. Who's your biggest fan?
Shit, probably myself.
I love that answer. You're doing great. We still have 22 seconds. And your last question, what inspires you to keep doing what you're doing?
Whenever somebody says that they like it.
Hell yeah. All right, congrats. You made it in time.
Thanks.
Woo! Thank you so much for taking some time out of your night to talk to me.
Oh my god, thank you so much for having me.